One heart for two. Conflict and compromise. Spontaneously placed intonations, pauses, and punctuation marks. And music, heard only by two. Of course, it's tango. A dance that can't be understood. It needs to be felt and danced. It's impossible to express its multifaceted shades. It is said that once you touched it, you will no longer break up with this passion. That's what happened to the heroes of our new program. And otherwise, it could not be different. After all, it comes from Latin America. After all, this continent has gathered a whole kaleidoscope of cultures of different nations.
Good day, everybody, and the warmest welcome to a new episode of Connecting Cultures. I'm your host, Diaz, and today we would like to present to you a perfect embodiment of Mexico. His name is Arturo. He was born in Mexico, but raised under American principles, and guess what? Now he works in Kazakhstan in capital education. Well, sit back and enjoy watching me having a delightful conversation with a delightful man.
Few people will be able to distinguish a dancer in Arturo from the first sight. But it is quite easy to see him as a professor and teacher. And he really teaches English and also really attends milongas, those very tango parties. He has been living in Kazakhstan for a year. He says he's used to it and even starting to feel a so-called comfort zone.
Sure, do you see your future here in Kazakhstan?
To tell the truth, I'm open to anything right now. I want to stay here as much as I can. I really enjoy my life here. I want to settle as much as I can, and if I wouldn't mind staying here permanently, to tell the truth. So of course, I am open to whatever the future may hold. But yeah, so if that means staying here, yeah, why not? Yeah, it's a nice country. I'm very happy here. Nice people, and I like the challenge of maybe having to learn two languages. So
Arturo works in a large language center in the capital of Kazakhstan. Students enjoy attending his lessons, and that sympathy is mutual. Arturo puts out completely and tries to make the lesson not only meaningful but also fun. Arturo says that in such a casual atmosphere, language learning is most effective. Before he arrived in Kazakhstan, he worked in Czech Republic, Poland, Slovenia, Latvia, Germany, United States, and Russia.
At one point, someone offered to do a voluntary teaching voluntarily in Russia. So I thought maybe I should do some Russian lessons right now, like take up some Russians or something. So I looked for help on the internet, and the page suggested me this person in Kazakhstan who wanted to learn English and practice her English. And she was helping me with my Russian. I was helping her with my English for a little bit, and we stayed in touch for 2 years. And when I was living in Poland, I actually worked there for a little bit. I decided to go on holiday. So I thought maybe I should go to Kazakhstan to check out the country, how nice it is. So I came to Astana. It was around the expo, and I was very surprised by the city, like the nice buildings, how clean everything is, how kind people are, how welcoming actually. Like I met people on the street and they wanted to take pictures with me. And so I told my friend, oh, it will be cool if I could work here. So she helped me through friends to find a school here who might need teachers, and that's how I ended up here, so through this friend of mine.
Arturo admits that Mexicans' knowledge of Kazakhstan usually are about during the Soviet Union times. Sometimes even about the collapse of the Union knows only few.
So the question that I forgot to ask you is about Kazakhstan. Once again, before you actually came here, have you made any research whatsoever about what the country was all about, what the people like?
and what's the culture actually is all about.
Right, yeah, I did. I actually, well, I told you the story with my friend I met on the internet, and before I met her, I have seen some documentaries on Kazakhstan, and I thought it was, I like art, so when I saw the video, the architecture by Turek, Hanjatir, Agorda, I thought it was kind of like a very interesting design that I would like to see by myself. So I did some research and I learned that this is a planned city and so on. Then I learned a little bit more about the culture and how it was part of the Soviet Union for a while, part of the Russian Empire. And for me, it's kind of fascinating to see a mix of many cultures here and how the country is, it has different cultures, even languages, two official languages, but at the same time, I feel that there's a sense of unity, like people feel proud of their country, which I think it's very important for a country to move forward.
As for Arturo's homeland, first of all, when we say Mexico, the mysteries of ancient Aztecs and Mayas, canyons, cactus, beaches of the Caribbean Sea, and sunny smile inhabitants, as from popular Mexican soap operas in the 1990s, immediately come up in your mind. By the way, as Arturo says, Mexicans indeed are like in TV series, very curious, slightly naive, almost always unpunctual, but incredibly friendly. And the Mexicans never hurry, giving the flow of life themselves to deal with everything that is happening. But living in many countries, Arturo made some conclusions for himself that all people on Earth are similar. Those feelings such as attachment to the family, concern for the future, dissatisfaction with the state, laziness, and envy, people have it all around the globe.
I'm from Mexico, but I lived in the US. I finished my high school and did my university years. Plus, I'm from the northern part of Mexico, where you walk 10 minutes and you're on the US side. So it was very common for us to travel to the USA for shopping, birthday parties, visit friends, and so on. So since an early childhood, I've been exposed to the English language. Well, it's very beneficial. Unfortunately, for the past years, in some areas, has been quite dangerous because of some violence going on.
Right.
So that's very unfortunate. But when I was growing up, it was pretty peaceful. And even now, in spite of the violence and the problems, there is a lot of commerce going on. Businesses are flourishing on both sides of the border, and a constant exchange of cultures happening on both sides. It's quite good, yeah.
Now, for all of the viewers who still confuse Mexicans with all those Latin Americans, let's say to all of them that Mexicans are basically not Latin Americans, right?
No, we are 100% Latin Americans.
100% Latin
Yeah,
Americans.
100%, yeah. We're proud of it.
Thank you for the clarification. Right.
Yeah, no, we're 100% of that.
Many of people, they think that Mexicans, like, they belong to the North America.
Okay,
Right.
geographically, we belong to North America.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not only in Kazakhstan. I had some friends who are foreigners here, and an Italian friend told me, like, I said that Mexico it's in South America, and I was pretty upset about it because we are.
Mexico is not in South America, right?
It's not South.
North America.
It's North America.
But it's still Latin America, right?
We are still Latin American. So it's how can I compare this to? It's like, for example, I would say, I don't know, Turkey maybe. Like part of Turkey is European, geographically, right?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
but they are 100% Turkish, Turkic people.
Yeah.
So we are the same. Like we have a community of. We are like an ethnicity, Latin American ethnicity, but geographically we're located in North America.
Professor Arturo Alejandro, like many Mexicans, is very curious, and therefore, having come to Kazakhstan, he began to study the history of the country, literally from the first day, the local mentality, and all that could unite our nations. Cultural difference between Mexicans and locals.
Kazakhstani
Differences.
citizens? Or
Usually,
maybe similarities.
yeah, I was going to tell you that usually for me it's easier to spot the similarities.
Right.
Something that I find that it's quite similar is family. In the USA, there is the joke that when a Mexican says, "Half my family's coming," you have like 40 people.
40
Yeah,
people, yeah.
so they only have a family. So we do keep family in. It's highly valued in Mexican culture. And I feel that it's the same in Kazakhstan, like family, you know, your cousins and your third cousins and everyone, it's very close.
We even call them brothers because we don't have it, like a word cousin, we don't have it.
Yeah, which for me is very confusing because sometimes people tell me like, oh, my brother and my brother, and sometimes for me it's like, how many brothers and sisters do you have? Yeah. So they and then I realize they're talking about their cousins.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's something that I find quite similar.
What else? Because I understand that here in Astana you can find like very cuisines, like Russian cuisine. What else? Chinese cuisine, and so on and so forth. So are you like? The question is, do you miss authentic Mexican food? Even not being like an avid Mexican eater.
Actually, yes and no. Like I've been out of Mexico for a long time, so at this point I'm kind of used to it.
Right.
But sometimes, like I try to do some what we call quesadillas.
Yeah.
And what I do is I buy lavash, which is very similar to the tortillas we have in the north of Mexico. And I just put cheese in there and that's it, that's my quesadilla. So sometimes, and beans are not hard to find here, so there's like very important for Mexican food is to have some beans in there. So there are like times when I really want a little Mexican thing, and that's the thing I do, cook my quesadilla. That, at least in Astana, because it's the capital, there are a lot of elements that are very similar to other cultures. That's what I've been noticing. I've been teaching in 4 countries now, and the younger generations seem to have a very similar culture and similar mindset because the world is connected. It's a YouTube, Instagram, so they like the same people, they watch the same videos, and especially if they learn English, they are beginning to speak the same language, right? So I think people who have the access to modern technology, and people who travel, as you mentioned, are beginning to share cultural elements. But I also noticed that it's like a geographical distribution, of the culture. So what I haven't been to some cities, but I've met people from other cities, and it looks like they're more traditional.
Right.
Yeah. So like they have big families, and their traditions are kept, as opposed to, I guess, in Astana, like some people are very modern. So like you can even hear some names that are very Western, and in the north of Kazakhstan, I feel, and in the south, people I've met are mostly very traditional names. So on the one hand, I think that some places are catching up with culture in general, but some places have remained traditional. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because the people there they just want to keep their traditions and they value it more. Maybe it's because cities are bigger. I don't really know what the reason might be, but I've noticed that there are some elements in some places that are equal to other Western nations, I think.
Thank you for that.
You're always welcome here, and whenever you need another interview, we'll be happy to
Thank you
help.
very much. I wish you a pleasant sojourn and stay here in Kazakhstan.
Thank you very much. And
You are really an inspiration, as I heard from the managers, to some people. And you keep it up.
Yeah,
All the best to you.
I hope someday you'll visit Mexico then.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goodbye.